Our top story at 4:30, the Sean Diddy Combs trial comes to an end with a split verdict. The jury finding the hip-hop mogul guilty of 2 prostitution charges, but not guilty of the 3 most serious charges: racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. He still faces the potential for years in prison. A bail hearing is expected at 5 o'clock, and we, of course, will bring you the latest on that. But joining us now is former prosecutor and defense attorney Ryan McGuigan. We always love having you, getting your expertise on this. This is something that's been closely watched. And this trial lasted 7 weeks. You had 8 men on the jury, 4 women, 34 witnesses testify. There was a lot going on here. Were you surprised by the verdict today?
When the government started dropping charges at the end of their case, something told me that there was a problem, that they knew that there was some sort of a problem with the evidence that they had put in and how the jury seemed to be interpreting it. So no, it didn't surprise me that this was the result.
Did they bring the right case? Did they bring the wrong charges in your estimation? Did they handle this correctly?
I think it was a classic case of overreach. They brought a RICO charge.
Right.
They didn't necessarily need to do that because they already had essentially a Mann Act charge, but for them to bring a RICO charge, they wanted to bring a conspiracy charge against him, because in a conspiracy, the statements of every other co-conspirator, whether they're indicted or not, are used against you. So it's sort of a way to get around hearsay objections. I've been in federal trials, and that's usually how they go when there's a conspiracy case. Everybody's statement just comes in. So that's probably what they were looking for. So that's why they charged him with a RICO charge, but the jury didn't buy their theory of the case.
Will the judge bail him out, do you think?
It's odd. So the judge is going to look at the totality of the circumstances, not just the things that he was convicted of, but with what he was convicted of. This is a 100-year-old statute that most criminal defense attorneys, but even prosecutors look at suspiciously because of the very, very racist undertones of this statute, and that was enacted. It was originally enacted 100 years ago to prosecute one person who was the heavyweight champion of the world because he had a white girlfriend.
I didn't know the history about that.
Yeah, his name was Jack Johnson.
Can we also talk a little bit about, there was a partial verdict initially yesterday. There was a lot of kerfuffle about that, and then you had the full verdict today, but it stalled that the jury's decision to get there today.
So they had they had acquitted him on a bunch of the things, and then they had this Mann Act case, which kind of spoke for itself because the people had identified themselves as prostitutes and they were hired and they went across state lines. And that's literally essentially what the crime is that he hired a prostitute from, say, Nevada, and they drove to Los Angeles, or vice versa. And that's literally the entire crime right there.
If I never hear about some of the details in this trial again,
yeah, they were
good.
very, very salacious. I mean, we had people's houses being raided in Miami, but really what it was for looking at it was there was all of this hype about what a terrible, horrible, awful person he was. And I'm not defending him at all, but I just think that this was overly done.
Interesting.
All right. We appreciate your insight, Ryan McGuigan. Always great to have you and to see you. We will be waiting to see what the judge decides coming up at 5 o'clock, and we'll keep you posted.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you.